We begin tonight with a live look from our roadways across the Miami Valley on our ODOT cameras. You're taking a look at I-75 and 35 and 75 near State Route 73. You can see the roads are wet. Rain making its way, I should say, through the Miami Valley right now. We could see maybe some flooding in the area, but I think things are starting to look pretty good out there.
Which is obviously great news because we've been under that flood watch for a while now, flash flooding watch. Yep. So what do we got now? It looks like things are kind of moving north here.
Yeah, so we have some rain and we have some heavier rain, but a lot of the spots that saw heavier rain earlier now see lighter precipitation, and this is starting to progress its way eastward. So we're getting some movement out of it, which is good news, because when we get systems like this to kind of hang out over the area, that's when we start to really see some bigger flooding concerns. That being said, some ponding out of the roads, some localized flooding still can't be ruled out through the evening, but as far as widespread flooding, not likely going to be a concern for us as we head into the evening. So taking a look at what we have making its way into Dayton right now, some heavier rain through parts of northwestern Montgomery County. Just north of Dayton, we got some good rainfall there. Southeastern Miami County, southeast of Troy. Also have some heavier precipitation there. Good steady rain through parts of Logan County as well. Now, our flood watch is technically for Montgomery County and southward. National Weather Service is keeping this for now. We're going to monitor the situation as we head into these next couple of hours, as we will still see some rain for our southern counties too. But as far as that widespread flooding concern, starting to dwindle just a little bit for us. But we will still see some heavier pockets overnight, some rumbles of thunder. Lows are going to be in the upper 60s, but that rain is going to be clearing out by the morning hours, so I'm going to time it all out for you to talk about what we're expecting coming up here in just a bit.
Natalie, thanks. The possibility of new residential construction causing some concerns for some Springboro residents. Gwyneth Falloon was at tonight's City Planning Commission meeting. Joins us now live. Can you walk us through where this is exactly, Gwen?
Yeah, Adam, the location is actually causing some of the concern, but the property site right now is set to be located right next to the city's junior high and high school off of South Main Street. Now, this is actually the home of the historic Janney House, which served as a station for the Underground Railroad. It's also, the property, also borders Widener Road, which people tell me is actually a residential street.
So, Gwen, what were the community members' concerns at tonight's meeting then?
Well, there were several in attendance, most of which actually live off of Widener Road, and their concerns were kind of the same. They say that safety and traffic is a big concern, and currently there are only two ways to get to Widener Road, but the plans right now are to build a third road, and residents in that area say it's probably going to only cause more problems.
Widener is a cut through. They turn right out of the high school, they turn right onto Widener, and they cut down our street every day because they don't want to hit that traffic down 741. So it's already really bad.
Now, nothing was officially decided on at tonight's meeting. Both the city and the developers, that's MI Homes, are actually going back to the drawing board and will present some new plans at next month's meeting. In the meantime, the city tells me it will also be conducting a traffic study. Back to you.
Tonight, the Dayton Police Department taking to Twitter to ask for your help. Right now, they're looking for this man you see here. This is 33-year-old James Hughes. He has a warrant out for his arrest in connection to a homicide at Carver Place. Now, that happened a few weeks back on July 29th. Hughes is now facing several charges from that incident. If you have any information on his whereabouts, you're urged to contact Miami Valley Crime Stoppers. That number is there at the bottom of your screen.
We're also learning new information about a deadly shooting in Springfield. Now, this happened on South York Street. Police tell us Michael Minter was shot at least twice, taken to the hospital where he later died. Investigators say this is the second deadly shooting in Springfield in just the last 72 hours. On Monday, Rakeem Ford was shot and killed after a car crash.
Of course, the community should be concerned whenever we have a homicide, and we've had 2 in 3 days. That is a concern. We have not made an arrest in either case. The investigation is ongoing. Our ultimate goal is to bring justice to the families of these victims in both cases, and that's what we intend to do.
So they're now asking for the public's help. If you know anything about either incident, you're asked to contact Springfield Police 937-324-7685.
A new report tonight showing Norfolk Southern strives to only meet minimum safety standards. That's according to a new report just released by the Federal Railroad Administration. In fact, investigators found poor communication and mistrust between employees and managers, which they say hindered the company's efforts to improve safety. Norfolk Southern CEO maintains the company sets the, quote, gold standard for industry safety.
Special Counsel Jack Smith got a search warrant to former President Donald Trump's Real Donald Trump Twitter account. That's according to newly unsealed court filings. The investigation into the social media account is reportedly related to Trump's efforts to overturn the presidential election. Now, the warrant was secured in January. Twitter was then fined $350,000 for delayed compliance.
Congressman Mike Turner touring the newly renovated Cassano Health Center in Dayton in 2022. Turner helped secure $1.25 million in federal funding to upgrade the facility, and now he's able to see the results in the Wright-Dunbar Historic District.
This facility has been renovated, continues its excellent work to the community and those who need health care here, but they definitely have increased the opportunities and the capabilities here. The imaging that has been provided, the medical technology that has been installed is state-of-the-art, and it really provides both the physicians and the staff here a great ability to provide care.
Turner thanks the physicians in Kettering Health and their mission to provide health care for this neighborhood.
Well, now to the aftermath of Issue 1 failing. Millions of Ohioans voted to not raise the percent needed to amend the state's constitution. So it's going to remain a simple majority, 50% plus instead of the 60% proposed. Mamie Bott took a look at the data, brings us those numbers now.
This is a contentious issue that caused many for and against to head to the polls and let their voices be heard. So let's take a look. More than 3 million Ohioans all across the state headed to the polls to cast their vote. Now, we do know that more than 50% voted against this issue, 57% to be exact. And when it comes to those that voted for, this is what we have: more than 40%, 43% people voting in regard to being for this issue. Now, many people are saying, political experts are saying, part of Issue 1's failure is its strong tied link to abortion, which leads to the next topic of what exactly are we going to be seeing on the November ballot. On the November ballot, we will be seeing reproductive rights, but under that you have abortion, contraception, fertility treatment, miscarriage care, continuing one's own pregnancy. So we do know that it all fall under one, reproductive rights. That is what will be on the ballot in November. Now, tonight we aren't hearing from state Republicans who supported this, but we are hearing from those on Capitol Hill.
I wish that the legislature and Ohio Republicans would spend more time in funding education, spend more time on attracting jobs to Ohio.
I think what's important is that we do need to have a statewide discussion as to what we're going to do with our Constitution. Because right now there are too many groups from the outside that can come in and fund initiatives and put them on the ballot every election cycle.
I did reach out to Governor Mike DeWine's office to get comment on the rejection of the measure, but I did not hear back. Back to you.
And if you want to read more about those numbers on Issue 1, you can go to our website, Dayton247now.com. You can find that story right there on the homepage.
Tonight, at least 6 people are dead as they are now rushing to escape wildfires that are burning out of control on a Hawaiian island. Lydia Bice has been following this story from the Now Desk tonight. So Lydia, where exactly is this happening?
That's right, Elise. So this incredible video right here that you see shows the wildfires raging in Maui last night. Now, these fires have proven deadly as well. State officials say 6 people have died, and Maui's hospital system is overflowing with patients suffering from burns and smoke inhalation. Even the Coast Guard rescued at least a dozen people near a popular tourist town after they jumped into the ocean to escape the fire and smoke. Now take a look at this one here. This is helicopter video showing the devastation left behind today. Smoke was still billowing from countless areas impacted by fire, and the other problem tonight is communication on the island. Hawaii's lieutenant governor says portions of the island are struggling due to downed cell towers.
911 is down, cell service is down, phone service is down, and that's been part of the problem. The Maui County has not been able to communicate with residents on the west side, Lahaina side.
Now, Hawaii National Guard members have been activated to help. The fires are partly fueled by powerful winds from Hurricane Dora. Hundreds of families have been displaced so far, with more than 2,000 people in shelters. Meteorologists say that the winds are going to die down soon, but very little rain is expected. Now, the Lieutenant Governor Luke estimates recovery from the fires will take years. Back to you.
Lydia, thank you. The use of artificial intelligence forcing colleges and universities to update their academic policies. Many are targeting ChatGPT. It's a bot that can write essays, give answers. Paige Barnes has more on how teachers can know that a student is cheating.
ChatGPT is the new kid on campus, and some professors are banning it from their classes. Miami University recently released its updated academic integrity policy. Cheating now includes AI tools under using or possessing any unauthorized aid. Other schools are encouraging their students to test the limits of how AI can help. At Northern Kentucky University, some informatics students are told to use it to write a research proposal. The students will then have to show how they'd improve the search results. Professor Kevin Kirby says it teaches the students how the technology works.
If we do it right as teachers, it will never be just relying. It'll always be questioning. It'll always be using it as an amplifier, as a tool, as a supplement. It will force us to teach differently.
Reporting in Highland Heights, Paige Barnes.
FBI agents killing a man after threats against the president. What we know is the shooting is under investigation tonight.
President Biden touting his Bidenomics and plan in New Mexico today, how he says new facilities are benefiting from his clean energy push.
Plus, tracking more rainfall as we head through the overnight hours, how much more we're expecting. That's coming up. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
The White House tonight unveiling a new federal system to track heat-related illnesses nationwide. The EMS Heat Tracker will map emergency services responding to those heat-related illnesses. Now, more Americans die each year from extreme heat than floods, hurricanes, and tornadoes combined. That's according to the National Weather Service.
All right, here's a live look from our roads tonight. Looks like the windshield wipers getting a break now as we continue down the freeway. Let's check in with Natalie with an update on all the rain.
Yeah, heavier rain has mainly been north of I-70 through the evening, but we will continue to see rain on and off and some heavier showers building into our southern counties too. But let's take a look at what we have seen throughout the day today. Radar estimating through parts of Darke County getting over 3 inches of rainfall just west of Greenville. It's been a soggy day for you. South of Adams Township, radar estimated about 2.5 inches of rain there. And then in Miami County near Troy, many spots getting at least 2 inches of rainfall, close to 3 inches during this evening as well. So any rain on top of that could potentially yield to some flooding concerns, ponding out on the roadways, potentially some swollen creeks and small rivers. So certainly be extra careful out there. You always want to remember, turn around, don't drown. But our widespread flooding concern certainly looking less than what it was earlier. That being said, we still have some heavier rain making its way through. Now further to the south, this activity is building its way northward, so I do think we're going to see some showers for our southern counties as we head into the rest of the evening as well. So I'm going to be timing that out for you, talking about what we're expecting for the rest of the week coming up in just a bit.
FBI agents shot and killed a Utah man accused of making threats against the president. This just hours before President Biden visited Salt Lake City for an event. Federal agents say Craig Robertson made a threat online on Monday saying he was, quote, cleaning the dust off his M24 sniper rifle and then referenced Biden's trip to Utah. Agents were serving a search warrant when a commotion broke out early this morning.
He wasn't coming out and he kept shouting something too, like I haven't broken any federal laws. And so he was clearly there, heard a lot of loud bangs, and then, yeah, just a bunch of shouting in a broken window.
The shooting is under review by the FBI.
President Biden visited New Mexico today for the groundbreaking of a wind tower manufacturing facility. Now, the visit is part of a larger effort to sell voters on his economic agenda and clean energy. It comes as the president marks the one-year anniversary of the Inflation Reduction Act. He says the new facility is one of many to have benefited from the law's tax credit initiative.
But a few years ago, they were laying off workers because we weren't investing in them. So we passed a significant climate legislation. Not only moves us away from fossil fuels to cleaner technologies like wind, but it means we're going to make things and new technology here in America.
Now, the president's visit is part of a 3-state tour through the Southwest that will conclude with a speech in Utah tomorrow.
Recent numbers are showing President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris's approval ratings are not looking good. Harris was asked specifically about hers last month.
There are reports that say that you have the lowest approval rating of any vice president. I'm curious how much of a role, if any, that you feel race and gender play in that.
Well, there are polls that also say I have great approval ratings.
According to a recent New York Times poll, just 39% of Americans approve of President Biden's job performance so far. You have until midnight tonight to sign up for retroactive benefits under the PACT Act. Now, this is for U.S. military veterans who were exposed to toxic chemicals while serving. More than 100,000 veterans who are believed to have toxic exposure have enrolled since the law was enacted. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg emphasizes this deadline is only for retroactive benefits.
We do urge everyone who is covered or who thinks you might be covered, if you haven't already signed on with the VA website, to go ahead and start that process. They're not even requiring that you complete the process, just that you start it in order to qualify for those benefits that are retroactive back to last August.
You can submit your claim and find resources at va.gov/PACT.
Live look now from downtown Troy through the traffic camera. You can see the roads, they are wet, maybe a couple raindrops still. Is the rain basically moving out at this point, Natalie?
We'll continue to see some heavier pockets on and off through these next couple of hours or so, but around 2 a.m.-ish it's looking like. That's when we're really going to see a lot of that heavier rain exit the region and some quieter weather make its way through. You can see that here as we take a look at our next weather maker. This is about midnight, still seeing some showers around, some heavier pockets, still monitoring the potential for some isolated flooding concerns. So do keep that in mind. You want to be extra safe as you're out on the roads. Never drive over flooded roads. Here's a look at what's going on early into the morning hours. Spot shower lingering. Roads may still be wet in some spots, but we clear out by the afternoon with temperatures in the 80s. Heading into our day on Thursday, we start out Thursday afternoon in the mid 80s, but on Friday we start out with 60s, and then by Friday afternoon it gets warm. It will stay humid, mid upper 80s. Can't rule out a shower or storm during the day on Friday as well, but rain chances pretty slim. I'll have a look at that 7-day with what we're expecting coming up here in just a bit, but overall rest of the evening maybe a quarter of an inch, but some locally heavier amounts up to a half an inch or an inch will be possible through the rest of the evening.
The Bengals running a joint practice with the Green Bay Packers ahead of their preseason matchup. We'll show you some of the action from all that after the break.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 now. A story from our partners at the Dayton Business Journal now. 110 townhomes could be coming to Xenia. Idaho-based home builder Mercer Building Company wants to build the 2-story rental townhomes and 15 buildings at Dayton Avenue. Now, the Xenia City Council will vote on the project at its meeting tomorrow after the city's Planning and Zoning Commission approved the plans last month. This would help revitalize, they say, the blighted commercial property, which used to be a shopping center. Now, we have more information at Dayton247now.com. You can find that story and others like it under the Dayton Business Journal heading in the News tab.
Get ready for some ice cream this weekend. The Washington Township Recplex is hosting an ice cream social on Sunday from 11 to 3. It's going to feature classic cars, games, complimentary hot dogs, burgers, ice cream, of course, and popsicles, a whole lot more as well. Although the cruisin' is not a formal car show, People's Choice trophies will be awarded to 3 of the vehicles, and it's going to take place rain or shine.
Well, the Bengals continuing their training camp this week, but they were not the only team practicing outside Paycor Stadium on Wednesday. Matt Digby's in next.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
The Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
Good evening, I'm Matt Digby with a look at sports. Wednesday was a busy day at Cincinnati Bengals training camp. The team holding a joint practice with the Green Bay Packers ahead of their preseason game Friday at Paycor Stadium. There were a few skirmishes between the Bengals defense and the Packers offense during the second half of the joint practice Wednesday. However, the practices able to resume without interruption. Meanwhile, the timetable for Joe Burrow's potential return remains several weeks, but number 9 was at practice. There he is in the bucket hat. For head coach Zach Taylor and the veteran players, they look at joint practices as a net positive. That was the feeling both before and after Wednesday.